it is me. And, yeah, this is the Game Talkers. And sadly, I do not have my co-host on with me, so it will just be a solo video. Today, we are going to be talking about Pro Controller versus Joy-Con Grip, because these two are both for the Nintendo Switch, and both have similar capabilities and different capabilities. So we're going to be talking about that today, and which probably suits you more. So, the Joy-Con Grip is basically where you connect your Joy-Con or your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons to this weird grip thingy. It grips your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons together, and basically it makes a Joy-Con controller. A Pro Controller is more like the modern technology, like the PS5 controller and Xbox Series X controller. So let's go on to our first category, which is buttons. Buttons are a crucial part of a controller. It's what you press to activate the gameplay. So, for the Pro Controller buttons, these buttons are okay. The X, Y, A, and B buttons are 7 out of 10. They're a little bit squishy, but they're not bad. For the the D-pad, though, the D-pad is literally the best D-pad ever. It's better than the NES controller or D-pad, and it's better than the SNES D-pad. And so are those trigger buttons over there. The trigger buttons are some of the best trigger buttons ever. Not as good as the PS5's, but good. So, when we go over to the Joy-Con Grips controller or buttons, they're just the Joy-Con buttons and stuff. We're talking about Joy-Con buttons, not the Grips buttons. Because the grip and the Joy-Cons are completely different things. So, let's talk about the X, Y, A, and B buttons. I love these buttons. They're fun to press and not too squishy. And yeah, they're just good. The only bad part about those buttons are that they're a little bit small. The trigger buttons are really good. I mean, really bad, because they're good. They're not bad, but I just like the feel that the Pro Controller triggers give off. Same for the D-pad. The D-pad for the I don't even know if you should call it a D-pad. It's just buttons with arrows on them. They have the same feel as the X, Y, A, and B buttons, but I do like an actual D-pad better than just buttons. So, who wins in the button category? So I think that the Pro Controller wins, because this has better trigger buttons, a better D-pad, and not as good like buttons or X, Y, A, and B buttons, but certainly a good set of buttons. So let's go on to our next category, which is comfortability. Which feels more comfortable? Well, let's talk about the Joy-Con Grip first, because the Joy-Con Grip is more of a clunky and, just fat design. It's just chunky. I just don't like the feel of it on my hand, and just don't like it. But for the Pro Controller, it's really comfortable. It just has that sense of, connection to my hand, but it's really similar to the PS5 controller, I feel, but a little bit more similar to the Xbox controller because it shares some similarities. So I think the Pro Controller actually beats the Joy-Con Grip when it comes to comfortability. So the Joy-Con or the Pro Controller is winning 2-0. Let's go on to our next category, which is battery life, or just battery in general. So, on a standard game or day when you're just gonna binge some gaming. How long will you last with a Joy-Con grip? Well, you'll last a pretty long time, 20 hours. And how you charge your Joy-Con grip controller, or just Joy-Cons, is just attach them to the Nintendo Switch while it's on dock mode. That charges the Joy-Cons. So you'll have about 20 hours on the Joy-Con grip. So what about the Pro Controller? The Pro Controller dwarfs the Joy-Con grip, or just Joy-Cons, with 40 hours. 40 hours of solid gameplay. And you charge it with, like, a USB charger, I think? I'm not sure. But, yeah. Just one of those. It comes with, like, that charger that comes with iPhones when you buy them. That controller that you use. So, what wins in battery? Pro Controller, 3-0. Customizability. Now, this is not a really important category, but it's a good category to talk about because you want to customize your controller. You don't want it to be bland. You want to have some fashion with your controllers. Well, what do you have for customizability with Joy-Con grip? Well, for the Joy-Cons, you really can only customize the Joy-Con grip with just simple colors. You can't really customize it with like cool colors or cool designs like what the Pro Controller has. So with the Pro Controller, yes, you have so many cool designs. Right here, or the first image, is a picture of an 8-bit Pro Controller. And then you have a clear Pro Controller. And then you have a Super Mario Pro Controller. And then you have a Super Smash Bros. Pro Controller. Pro Controller has much better customizability, giving you more options and better fashion, I should say, for your controller. So, 4-0. Pro Controller is absolutely decimating the Joy-Con grip. So, let's move on to our next category. Features. Both of the Joy-Con grip and Pro Controller have similar features. So, you can both have an HD rumble, which is, that rumble feeling when you're, like, fighting a boss or having loud noises. That's what an HD rumble is. But the Joy-Con grip has probably a much better HD rumble, mainly because it has two built-in HD rumbles with those two built-in Joy-Cons, or not built-in Joy-Cons, just connected Joy-Cons. And the Pro Controller really only has one, which I think is okay. I mean, I do like that HD rumble on my controller, but not really that much. But still, the Joy-Con grip has a better HD rumble and really has, better features. Well, that's really the only feature. But yeah, so the Joy-Con grip beats the Pro Controller in this category, which means the final score is 4-1. Pro Controller has 4 points. Joy-Con grip only has 1. So really, yeah, Pro Controller just wins, ultimately. So, which one I recommend? Well, I really don't care what I prefer. I've lived with my Joy-Con grip for about 2 years until I got my first Pro Controller. So, and I lived completely fine with the Joy-Con grip. But the Pro Controller was just a much better fit. So, what do I recommend? Well, it's really your decision. So, peace.